Good evening, Chair and members. My name is Alex Hamilton, and I'm the Fire Chief for the City of Oxnard and President of the Fire Chiefs Department for the California League of Cities, which is sponsoring this measure. The measure seeks to clarify Section 201 of the EMS Act, which grandfathered rights for entities that were delivering pre-hospital EMS services prior to the Act becoming law. And I'd just like to take a moment to express my appreciation for the committee chair and committee staff for working with us on this bill. We've been working hard to listen to stakeholder concerns and calibrate 1168 to address those concerns. So I come before you today because my city council wants to provide equitable ambulance service to Oxnard residents. The city council unsuccessfully tried to implement a municipal ambulance service after Oxnard officials determined that residents in low to moderate income areas of the city were twice as likely to experience delayed ambulance responses than residents in more affluent areas. And the county's contract provider spent more than 12% of its time responding to calls in other, primarily wealthier parts of Ventura County. These facts are undisputed, and the Court of Appeal included them in their published decision. During arguments before the Court of Appeal, one of the justices asked the attorney for Ventura County whether equitable services issues are relevant to disputes over service rights under the EMS Act. The Ventura County's attorney responded, and I quote, "Quality of care does not matter." To which the justice replied, "That just doesn't hit my ears right." Nevertheless, the Ventura County's attorney was apparently correct, as the Court of Appeal ruled against Oxnard. So I'd like to address very briefly, I know it's been a long day for you all, but I'd like to address very briefly some of the talking points opponents have raised throughout the legislative process. Opponents of this bill have repeatedly claimed that Oxnard enjoys the lowest average response time for ambulances anywhere in the county. All this statistic demonstrates is that Oxnard is the most densely populated city in Ventura County. Average response times is not a standard performance metric in EMS and the ambulance industry. And the other thing is this statistic completely ignores and whitewashes equity issues. So local EMS agencies are regulatory bodies that oversee EMT certifications and medical aspects of a county EMS system, including establishing field treatment protocols and determining which medications pre-hospital EMS personnel may administer. Local EMS agencies, however, are not experts on emergency operations and deployment of emergency response resources. Indeed, the Ventura County EMS agency has struggled to address the fact that if you are poor in Oxnard, you are twice as likely to wait for an ambulance. And unfortunately, that statistic gets worse the further down the socioeconomic scale you go. This is not a meaningless, made-up statistic. It represents the day-to-day reality of Oxnard residents. It also represents difficult choices faced by my personnel, such as, for example, whether they should transport a 3-year-old drowning victim to the hospital in the back of a fire engine or continue to wait for a late ambulance coming from the next city over. Oxnard has been trying for years to address these equitable service issues without success, including establish our own non-transport paramedic program to improve the level of service to our residents. Additionally, opponents have claimed that Oxnard was only a passive participant in the county-wide joint powers agreement at the crux of the issue. That is not so. And Oxnard actually brought its ambulance franchisee to the JPA. It is the same company that exists today, although it's now under different ownership. These opponents' claims are also beside the point. Over the years, no one has ever come forward with evidence showing that by entering the joint powers agreement, the Oxnard City Council intended to abdicate its responsibility for the health and welfare of over 200,000 Oxnard residents. And indeed, I don't believe the City Council would have ever agreed to join a JPA if it knew the results would be a system that did not have any ambulances available to respond to 911 calls in Oxnard more than 1,200 times in a single year. Opponents have also claimed that 1168 will fragment the EMS system. But unfortunately, we're already living in a broken, fragmented system right now. Aside from a central dispatching center, there is zero coordination between fire agencies and the ambulance providers in Ventura County. However, this dysfunction is not inevitable. So it's my goal.
If I could ask you to wrap up.
Yes.
We hear you, I think.
Okay. It's my goal to develop a truly integrated EMS system for all Oxnard residents, regardless of socioeconomic status. I'll leave my comments there, and I request your support. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here today.